Hi, my name is Tania Hussain, and today I'll be talking about English as a global language. In this recent world, it's a globalized world, and the entire world is in our finger. If you just print or press one button of computer, all the informations you get, what is happening and where. And most of the communications are here in English. So anyone, if you ask this question, which language is a global language or which is a global language, with no confusion, no question, you will raise your hand and say English. Now, why English, and what makes English a global language, and what is a global language? A global language is a language that develops a spatial role in every community and every country in the world, and which is recognized by every country. Every country means all, like 193 countries in the world plus 195, at least they have some role in that country. And I think with no question English has this role. And of course that it's like we say and that there is a spatial role and it is a global language. No, there should be evidence of a global language. And English has the evidence. Wherever you go, you will find that English has this evidence. And one thing is very important to remember, that many people think that number of mother tongue speakers gives the language a global status. It's a completely wrong idea, because there is no relationship between the number of the speaker, mother tongue speaker. The relationship is different. Like, it's the people who speak the language. So now the global language is the language which is recognized by all the people in the world. And this is the world ranking of the languages: Chinese, Spanish. English ranks 3, in spite of the fact English is a global language. Why it makes the global language? What gives? So as I tell in my previous slide, that it has to be taken by other countries around the world, and at the same time needs to be acquired within the community. Here you may ask, what is the community? For example, in Japan there is a Chinese community, there is a Korean community, there is an Indian community, there is a Middle Eastern community. These communities also need to take this language as their medium of instruction. There may be few or no mother tongue speakers. So their mother tongue speaker doesn't give the status of global language. Maybe it's a pidgin language that may arise as a global language. But the thing is that it has to be accepted by the people of all over the world, all the countries, and at the same time it has a function, it has a proof in the world. Second, the 2 ways that makes a language a global. Number one, of course, there is a native speakers of the language. At the same time, either it used as a official language or a second language of a country, or it is used as a foreign language. Now, there is a difference between the official and the second language learning and teaching, and also the foreign language. Now, what is the official language? Official language is a language that is used as a medium of communication in the government, law, codes, and educational system. And second language, as it is used as a complement of the person's first language. So second language means, like if the language is used as a complement of the first language of the country. For example, in Japan, if English used as a complement of Japanese language, at the same time it is used as the government, the law, and the code and education system, it will be a global language. At the same time, the foreign language is that it has no official status, but children likes to be taught. So here in Japan, like most of the children likes to be taught, but English doesn't have any official status, so English is a foreign language in Japan. But many countries, for example, as I told just earlier, official language, many countries using English as official or additional official language. For example, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, in some African countries, they are using as a English as an additional or an official language. Additional official language means they take this language along with some other local languages, and all the things is necessary, and all this status gives English a global status. Now, why we choose that a global language or a foreign language to teach or learn? The first reason is historical tradition and political expedition. Then what is the historical tradition? Historical tradition means either it's a colonial language or it's a military power, or at the same time it can be the reason is commercial, cultural, technological, on contract. And then foreign aid, giving the foreign aid, taking the foreign aid, both you need a language that is understandable by the two parties. So these are the reason people choose a foreign language, and then this language, when it accepted all over the world, it become a global language. So the global language is a language which is used by more people because of the first, second, and the foreign language speaker, or as a foreign language. And English has the status 1/4 of population of the world use this language as either as a first language, second language, or a foreign language, and all this gives English a global status. So until now, whatever I say, that the language which is accepted by almost all the countries of the world and the communities, either as a first language or as a second language or as a foreign language, is treated as a global language. And at the same time, most of the people choose foreign language because of the economic, political, as well as the commercial reason. Sometimes foreign aid is also responsible, or foreign aid is also one of the reasons to choose a global language. Now, what makes a language global? It has a little to do with the number of people, but it depends who are the speaker. Globalization basically depends on the power of the language, either cultural power, economic power, and military power. So the powerful language basically achieves a global status, and if the language is not powerful, it will be very difficult for the language to be a global language. No power, no international medium of communication. So English became a global language because of the military power as well as the colonial power of the 19th century British colonial power. So if the language is not powerful and it doesn't give any benefits to the learners, it is very difficult for any language to get a global status. Sometimes the people say that English is very easy language. It has a less grammar than other languages, like Hindi is a very difficult language, Japanese has a kanji, Chinese has a characters, but English doesn't have lots of endings on its word, no need to remember masculine, feminine, neuter gender. It is easy to learn. Many language like Indian languages, many other languages, the masculine form is completely different than the feminine form, and it makes language like learning very difficult. But easiness of a language learning and gaining a global status has no relationship. The language gained the global status because of its power. Now, this argument that English is easy is misconcept. 1,000 years ago, Latin was a global language. But Latin was an international language, and at the same time it has inflectional ending. Latin is still a very difficult language. French was an international language despite its noun being masculine and feminine, and ease of learning language has nothing to do with the internationalism and getting global status. There is no relationship between how difficult is the language and how easy the language is to learn, but the most important thing that this learners needs to connect with the power. The power of the language gives the language a global status. Language cannot become a global language because of its intrinsic structural properties, because of its vocabularies, literature associated with the culture and literature. Sometimes people say that English has a nice culture and it has a good literature and it has a history and it makes a global status. It gives us language a global status, which is also not true, because many languages are there in the world. They have a nice literature, vocabularies, culture, romantic thing. There is no relationship between the beauty of a language and the gaining a global status. Language become global language because of its power, either political or military. Now, Greek became an international language. Once upon a time, Greece was a very powerful country, but it was the international language not because of Plato and Aristotle, but because of the Alexander the Great. Latin became an international language because of Roman Empire, and language became international not only because of military power but also economic power. So, beginning of the 19th century, British political imperialism had sent English around the world. So, 19th century British started colonize the world, and the last colony was 1963, the Kenya. So, because of this, British left, the colonial period ends, but only one thing left, that is English. So, with the colonization, this English moves all around the world. The varieties of English started, Indian variety, African variety, Singlish, all are new varieties started, emerged all over the world. At the same time, all the standard English receipt pronunciation lost its original status, but at the same time, different type of variety emerged and it expand all over the world, and it gives this language a global, makes this language a global. And during the 20th century, English spread all over the world because of economic supremacy of new American superpowers. So American English, many students said that American English is the standard English, and some said that British English is the standard English. So because these two powerful language, economic power and the military power of these two countries gives this language a global status. Now, and why this global language emerged, the term? What is the reason we need the global language? And the thing is that if there are 2 and 3 languages that are in the contract in a nation, bilingualism is possible, like if the language is 2 and 3, but if more than 2 and 3 and 190 from 200, which is difficult, the bilingualism is not possible. So to solve the problem of common language is necessary. And the most often English and French is acceptable by people because of political, economic and religious reason. So, and nowadays English is very, because of internet and I think very very popular all over the world among the young generations too. So it makes the communication easy with the people, and if you really want to go international world, and this is the only one language which will give you a global passport. So this is the reason that where the bilingualism is not possible, where so many nations are together nowadays, I don't think that ever in the history of the world so many people come together, gather together, travel together before this COVID-19, so many, in a 1 month, 2-3 countries or sometimes 2-3 continents. So the global language become inevitable, and that's why bilingualism was not possible, and that's why one language emerged, and that is the English. And at the same time, if there is no global language, one problem starts, that is the translation. United Nations, there are several official languages. If they started translating all the documents in 9 languages or 10 languages, it's a huge cost. So global language is necessary to reduce the cost. So if everyone understands English, the powerful language, it will be easy for everyone to communicate, and also it will reduce the expense. And to do the academic world and meet the internet person, the online, the internet language is only English. So of course there are some other languages we can use, but English is the most accessible language. Academic world, journal, news, then any accidents, whatever news you want, if you know English or any global language, it will give you it will broaden your area of the knowledge. So in spite, of course, global language has some limitations. Some people say that it creates inequality, and some say that those who cannot use the internet, those who doesn't have money to use the computer, or some countries in the world still poor, they cannot afford the second language learning. They're very much disadvantaged. But in spite of all those limitations, global language gives some opportunity and employment to the people, those who doesn't get the opportunity. For example, in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, or many countries, if the students if you know English, it broaden your opportunity job in the job market, and also it gives the opportunity to get scholarship to some other countries. So there is a video on YouTube link, like 10 countries in the world where English is using. You can see it at home. And if you have any question or any comments, of course you can write me, or you can send us email. But in short, the global language is a language which is accepted by the countries all over the world, which is there is a proof that this is a global language, and at the same time it is accepted by the community, and it is used as a second language, as a foreign language, or as a first language. And the power of the language give a language a global status, although it has some limitations, but it gives opportunity and it gives a success of your life. Thank you very much.